Hi Holly. So we find ourselves here, and I'm just wondering what your journey was like from when you first started thinking about training as a counsellor. How was it for you?
Yeah, I've been thinking about this before we've come along today. When it was I actually first started with Healthbox, I think it was towards the end of 2021. I hadn't actually heard about Healthbox before, not from the area, and one of my classmates said, I think Healthbox would really be somewhere that you'd enjoy doing a placement at. So had a look on the website and was really drawn to what Healthbox were about. Applied for a student placement with Healthbox, and spoke with Laura Wilson, who did my interview.
Remember that?
Yeah. Being, wide-eyed, like, oh, this is exciting. And then starting the process of, getting all that paperwork together. How about you?
Yeah, well, similar really, because what happened when I started training, I got in touch with my local GP and asked them about placements or counselling services, and they gave me a telephone number and said it's Healthbox, give them a call. So I sent an email, and again, I kind of didn't expect to hear anything, because I know my sort of classmates, if you like, were complaining because they were sending in information, or they were sending in emails and they weren't getting any reply. So I think part of me was sort of, well, I'll do it anyway, but I probably won't get anywhere with this. But I got a message to say, get in touch, and we'd like to, and I was over the moon then. So my process, like yours, was I was asked to have an interview online, and it was Laura as well that interviewed me, and I was really nervous in the start, but I think that's been one of the things for me in this whole process, is that everyone I've spoken to has been really down to earth and made you feel really comfortable.
Definitely, yeah.
And that was a big attraction for me, because there were a couple more organisations that I looked at and you just didn't get that same feel.
No, yeah, I'd say, I was quite anxious at the beginning, and really the people, whether it was Laura or others in Healthbox, or my coordinator at the time in my placement, James, really helped me build that confidence.
Right. That's nice.
Yeah. And I get what you meant, like when you're looking for a placement, you sort of think, there's going to be so many people applying at the same time. So yeah, it was probably fate, that
I think so.
realigned with Healthbox.
Yeah, it felt like that. And when, like you, I looked online and had a look at Healthbox and what they were all about, and I was really surprised because I love that sort of bringing the community together. That was the one thing that I was more keen to go with Healthbox than anyone else. I went with Cruise as well and Place to Be, but Healthbox was where I really wanted to sort of stay with and to continue my hours. So then knowing that there were Healthbox behind the scenes were doing so much for the community, it just felt really good. It really, felt like this is what I'm like, this is what I like about this.
Yeah. So. Did you find you were sort of in your placement anyway, sort of wanting to, I suppose, direct people to other services?
Yeah, well, I did. Yeah, and I found that's where I liked the support from Lorraine. Lorraine was my she was my sort of manager of the practice there, and I would go to Lorraine and say, I've come across this with a client and I'm not sure, and I was saying, where can we signpost? And Lorraine straight away brought up, you always felt you could go somewhere for a client, you could always offer them more. And I don't think a lot of the classmates, they didn't get that support. They didn't really get that input. So I was really grateful for that.
I did sort of, it was a learning curve, sort of that 6 sessions initially with the client and learning how to focus within that, and maybe thinking of other longer term sort of sessions, other placements, but it just didn't feel the same as Healthbox. What was offered, the support for yourself, but the support for the clients as well.
But so I mean, I stayed with Lorraine with Healthbox right through till my 100 hours were done, and you know, I sort of thought, right, I need to find some work now. Got qualified. I mean, that's just so exciting when you've done your hours, you get your hours in, and that was another thing I noticed, was the hours were ongoing. They kept coming through, whereas I know some of the classmates were saying, oh, I've not got enough clients, or, you know, they can't find me anybody. You know, there was a lot of that went on, but, you know, in Healthbox, well, where I was in Central there, you know, they're just flowing through. So I was grateful for that as well. You know,
and I think if you show potential and you work hard within Healthbox as a volunteer anyway, they want to support you in that way, in terms of helping you pass those 100 hours. I remember my supervisor at the time saying, don't stop at 100 hours, you know, keep on going, keep honing that skill. And I was really appreciative of that with Healthbox, that pressure of getting those hours was gone.
Well, it is the pressure as well, isn't it?
And probably a lot of the paperwork is done at that point, so you're able to just really ease in and concentrate so much more on those clients, not sort of having to. I liken it to, you know, a drive, you know, learning to drive. You've got to 10 to 2. Now you can sort of
relax a little bit,
you know, safely, ethically.
And I think that was something else that not all placements offer, is that structure of the, you know, the sort of assessing and looking at the information and being able to sort of finish off, and that extra support. If you needed a couple of extra sessions, they were willing to give that. Not all places do that either, so you know, appreciated that. And getting your reports in at the end of those 100 hours, it's always that's a lot of pressure, making sure all the paperwork's right and all done. You know, and Lorraine, you know, a couple of signatures were missing. As soon as I got in touch, she was like, come in, come down, let's get it signed. You know, there was a sense of urgency from her as well, which was lovely.
But on the other side of that, I've spoken to people who have had placements in the NHS, and that has been very paperwork heavy, and I think there's just the appropriate amount that's needed. It just makes sense. I like the phrase work smart, not hard, and I really feel that that's what Healthbox are about. It's not, oh well, we need, you know, 6 sessions and that's it. It's okay, well, how can we work with this patient or client so that it helps them moving forward, rather than they're just going to come back into the service. There's
a lot of thought go into that, really, and I think we probably understand more now, I mean, without moving on too quickly. So we sort of qualified, and, you know, I don't know about you, but I really wanted to work for Healthbox. I knew that when I got to the end of my hours, I really thought, have I got a chance of working for them? And I emailed in just to show that I was keen, and that I was ready, and I was wanting to see if there was any positions or any places where I could work and do. So I ended up, I got an email back from Laura Wilson, and she said, I think I just emailed at the right time as well. You know, it was that right time, right place. And Laura said to me, would you be interested in doing a little bit of work? And I was like, yeah, of course. I came and I met Laura, other Laura, surname Turner, Laura Turner, and had a lovely discussion with her. It didn't feel like an interview, you know, I mean, obviously it was, but it was so relaxed that I didn't feel intimidated. And again, I think, you know, I just feel very comfortable with Healthbox as well. And like I say, I've looked at other positions, other jobs, and you know, I've had options to work elsewhere, and I've thought, no, it's not the same feel. It's not the same sort of community warmth that Healthbox offer.
Yeah. So how are you finding the role now? How long have you been in the position?
Well, I'm still learning about the role. I've been with Healthbox now for about 6 weeks, and I'm just settling into mental health link worker. I've taken over from Lizzie, and at first the admin side and all of the systems on the computer, it was wow, how am I going to get used to this? But because Lizzie and Sarah, who I work alongside, they've been so helpful, and any time I've asked for some help, anywhere to be honest in Healthbox, I've always had the support, and that's just made it so much easier for me. I mean, now I know the system, I've picked it up. There's still a couple of little things that I need to get used to, but I think having this role, you see even more of what's going on behind Healthbox, because you don't, even when you're a student, you know they're doing good in the community, but you don't know how much. Once you get into a position like this, you can really see how vital is the word, I think, Healthbox is in the community around here, because of everything that they offer. And it's reassuring for me, I think, as working in the counselling environment, that actually when clients come to Healthbox, they don't just come and go. They come and then they're supported throughout. That's what it feels like.
And that gives you the confidence in your role.
It does. It really does. Yeah, it does. How are you finding it?
Good. So I started as a social prescribing link worker last March, I think it was, in Chester South, where you are now.
How did you get to that from your training?
So I wasn't happy where I was. It wasn't working with my skills. Learned a lot in the previous role where I was, but it just wasn't a good fit for me. And again, I didn't know a lot about the social prescribing role. But got my head down, learnt a lot about it, spoke to James, my coordinator, to find more out about the role in the area. And I think the counselling really, those skills really helped in that role, in terms of you're talking to people, they come with one particular issue at first, present an issue, but there's always so much more. And that aspect, when I said to you before, of, you know, more holistically and sort of being able to help people alongside, beyond and alongside, you know, that they sometimes ask those questions of, oh, I think a support group or a social group might help. And I'm really glad that I did the social prescribing role first, because
It's given you insight.
It's given me insight into that role, because I work alongside another social prescriber in this role now, in the mental health link worker role. And a better understanding of the area as well, because again, I'm not from the area, so I have a better understanding of the systems and things like that. And again, learning that new system again was a bit anxiety inducing, but everyone was really helpful and nothing was a problem, and that helped me learn that and feel at ease with that so much more quicker.
That's good. I think I noticed as well, there have been times in the short time that I've been with Healthbox, there have been some clients who just sort of don't fit into our remit, if you like, and you know, things have taken a bit of time, but it's been nice, I think, that in the role, even though there's pressure at times, there's enough time to think, oh, nothing's happened with that client or that patient, I should say, that's come to us. I think I'll just ring in and check on, just to see if anything's going on. Having that time as well in that role makes a big difference, because, you know, patients or clients can get forgotten, you know, so that I really appreciate having that little bit of extra time within the role to think about them.
And that will then help them long term, rather than just being put back into the system or being re-referred back in. Having that extended time to be able to check in with them it is a help for us, but a help for them as well.
And you just feel like you're able to give what you need to give to them, really. But so it's early days at the moment. But again, thinking student-wise, I'm on my level 5 now, and that's another thing about Healthbox, is that potentially there could be other places to go and other roles to take on as I progress. So I think that's important as well, that you know, there is movement in the organisation to move,
and flexibility for what's needed for the PCNs out there, the services out there. Healthbox like to work alongside them to really help with that. How do you find it being on the other side, being you're Lorraine now? Or
that was, I mean, I think my age helped me with that, because I've done a lot of management over the years, so I think that helped. But again, as the weeks have gone on, I've become more comfortable. At first it seems a bit strange, and I know my supervisor said to me when I qualified, how does it feel to be a peer, you know, my peer now, not the sort of supervisor student role. So I suppose it's a similar thing. You have to see yourself now as a manager, I suppose, as well. And so I mean, I love it. I love being able to chat with students, and you know, I'm really enjoying it. Really enjoying it. And again, it's nice to have that backup. You know, that you can just pick up the phone and talk to somebody else, and you know you're going to get that support. It
feels sort of like, I suppose, like how supervision works, that you're at first, when you're that, you know, brand new student, you think, oh, I'm on my own, but you never are. There's always someone there, and I think that's how it feels in this role. And I learn so much from the students as well. You know, because they'll have different modalities sometimes, but new things are coming up all the time, and that's really good to have a chat with them and find out stuff you know that they're working with at the moment as well. No,
it's really interesting. I love it. You know, I feel very lucky to be in this position. I mean, did you think you'd be here when you were training, in the middle of your training? What did you think?
No. I at the very beginning, I do sort of have to sort of have a little think and think of Holly of past, of, you know, what would she have thought of you in this position now, and I'm so grateful to be in this role now.
And I think that's important, because while we're training, you hear a lot of stories of, you know, there's no work out there, you're going to get all qualified, you spent all this money and then there's nothing out there. But I think that is it. It's just believe in yourself, really, because, you know, there's work out there. We're proof to show that. So just keep going, isn't it?
And I think in my previous role, I worked with apprenticeships, and they would not always be permanent positions, and I would say to the apprentices, make yourself indispensable.
Makes a difference.
And I think that's something I'd like to put across, is, you know, you work with Healthbox, they will work with you.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
And hopefully we'll be with them for some time, and we'll get a chance to talk again. So I mean, a few things have changed since when we first came to Healthbox, and I know that alongside the podcasts and the different things that they offer now, in your placement, I believe now there's supervision that you can get as one. Well, it's you know, the whole package, really. So if you're a student and you're looking to, I mean, some students often have difficulty actually marrying up the two, the placement and the supervision. But actually now, if you get in touch with Healthbox, they provide clinical supervision as well, I think now.
And
which was a shame, because we didn't have that then. It would have been so much easier.
Because there's so many plates to spin when, you know, you're having to line everything up, you're having to find a placement, find supervision, things like that, that just makes that process so much more seamless.
Yeah.
And like you said, you know, obviously the other stuff that they offer as well, like the podcasts and the other courses and services that Healthbox offer as well. It just feels, just all holistic and just helps the student, but the client as well, which is the main thing, isn't it?
But, you know, if there's any students, you know, out there that are having any difficulty, because they do, just get in touch with Healthbox on their website, and you'd be surprised at how quick they'll just organise everything for you.
Yeah.
Take the sting out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're proof of that.
Yeah, we are.